Once you've filled out your procedure, you want to fill out the data portion. For our particular assignment, I'm going to have a class data sheet that you can access by clicking on this link where it says click on this for class data. Click on that. You want to do that. And there's this is the how-to video to fill out that gathering data. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to make up your own data for this experiment. So once you click on this, it's going to open up a brand new sheet, and it's going to boop, 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 bring you to the instructions page. So if you ever get lost on this assignment, particularly once you're in this Google Sheet, the instructions are up here for how to fill it out. So make sure you read those instructions if you get stuck, but I am going to walk you through them right now. You can see each person has their own sheet, and each person can only edit their own sheet. So you want to click through and find your name. Now for me, I'm Miss Berg, so I'm going to go all the way back to Berg's example, which is, that's me, that's my example. So I'm going to click on it. Now I already filled mine out, but when you're filling it out, there's a couple things you want to do. And Chai, I'm going to click on yours so that everyone can see what a blank one looks like. You're going to fill out your data table title. So you're going to erase all that out, and you should have a descriptive title including your independent variable and your dependent variable. For instance, the effect of blank on blank. So for me, if you recall, my independent variable was my type of shoe, and my dependent variable was my jumping height. So I just made my title the effect of the type of shoe on the jumping height for Miss Berg. Oh yeah, oh that's good. Next thing you're going to do after that is you're going to make a column title that should have your independent variable and units if necessary. Your right side column title should be your dependent variable with units if necessary. So remember, your independent variable is always in the far left column. Now in my example, I put my type of shoe in my far left column because that's my independent variable. There's no unit because it's just nominal data. For my average jumping height column, I have in centimeters in that column title. The reason why you put your unit in the column title and not in the boxes is because if you put centimeters next to all these numbers, you're not going to be able to graph your data. So you want to make sure the unit is always in the title, and then in the actual boxes, the data is just raw data. It's just numbers. And that's why you put the unit up top, is so people know what you're talking about. These numbers, I did not actually run this experiment. You are not expected to run this experiment. I just made these up. So you can make up whatever data you want as long as it's like somewhat reasonable. If I said my pumas were like 0.2 centimeters, like that would probably be false. But you make up this data. You come up with it off the top of your head. You don't need to Google anything. You don't need to search anything. Just make up your own data. There is a checklist at the bottom for you to make sure that you're filling it out correctly. Do you have a descriptive title? Are there accurate column titles? Is the independent variable in the far left column? Is the dependent variable in the right column? Check this list. I promise you it's going to make your life a lot easier if you check and make sure that those things are done correctly. You're going to maximize your score. It's going to be great. Once you have this, you're going to take a screenshot of your data table, which I'm going to do right now. Beep, beep. Screenshot. Ching. And then I'm going to go back to my page. And here it says copy and paste your completed data table right here. So I'm going to click on there, and I'm going to actually erase this because I don't need that to be there. I'm going to insert the image I just took. So I'm going to upload it from my computer. And I'm going to go to my documents because that's where the screenshots save on my computer. I'm going to open it. And now I have my data table right here ready to go. It's gorgeous. Look at it. It's got title. It's got column titles with units. Man, that's a good data table. We organized our data. It looks fantastic. After I do that, I can kind of clean things up. I can back that up to make sure there's not like a huge amount of space between my data table and my analyzed data. So just a recommendation. That's cool. If you forgot how to copy and paste, click on this picture here. It'll remind you of the shortcut for how to copy and paste on a Chromebook. If you forgot how to copy and paste on a MacBook or a PC, for PC, you just look up your snipping tool. It's one of the devices on your computer. And for a Mac, it's Command-Shift-4. It's a fun fact. I know that was fast, but that's what it is. For analyzed data, I made a whole separate video that you can watch in order to make your bar graph. So I'm going to hyperlink that right here. Watch that video if you don't know how to make a bar graph. In fact, you should watch the video anyway because there's a lot of recommendations for what to do to make a nice clean graph. But once you have your graph, once it's completed, you have your column titles, you have your chart title, you have everything labeled. What's that? You checked your graph checklist? Yes, you should have your dependent variable on your y-axis and your independent variable on your x-axis. Once you have all that and it looks beautiful, you're just going to click on your graph and you're going to copy it. And this should work. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to paste it in my analyze data section. So where it says copy and paste your completed graph there, that's where you're going to paste it. Now, when I try to copy and paste it, it's going to say link to spreadsheet or paste unlinked. I'm going to paste it unlinked. The reason for that is if I change anything in that other document, it's going to take away or adjust my graph in this document. And I don't want to do that for this particular lab. So I'm going to paste it unlinked. And boom, there's my graph. I don't need it quite that big. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then once I have that, I can, if it fits up here, it's awesome. If not, it's okay if it's down here. But I want to make sure this box is a little bit closer. So I'm going to back this up so that my 3 objective observations are directly under my graph. And you know what? I am going to make it a little bit bigger. It's going to make it easier to see. So underneath your graph, we're going to practice analyzing our data where we just take 3 objective observations based on what we're seeing here. So one objective observation could be the Jordans had the highest jump at just over, I probably shouldn't say just over, that's subjective, at 38 point, let's see what exactly it was. Let me check my data table. 38.2 centimeters. Boom, that's objective, and that's an observation. I can say there were 5 types of shoes compared, and I can say the Pumas had the lowest jump at, let me look it up so I can be precise, 35.9 centimeters, 35.9 centimeters. And just like that, I have my 3 objective observations. These are all factual. They're all based on this graph. That's what analysis is. I'm not interpreting these results. Right now, I'm just stating the facts. And my conclusion is where I actually start to interpret them. So in this section, you should summarize the results of your experiment by stating the effect of the independent variable on the dependent variable. This should match the data in your data table and graph. Once you've summarized the experiment, be sure to state if your hypothesis was accurate or inaccurate. This should be 2 complete sentences or more. Yeah, you should be using complete sentences, and there should be at least 2. 1 to summarize the experiment and 1 to accept or reject your hypothesis. So for my summary, my whole goal was to figure out the effect of shoes on the jumping height. So what I can say is the Jordans had a jumping height of 38.2 centimeters, which was higher than any other shoe that Miss Berg tried. The hypothesis, oh gosh, I don't remember what my hypothesis was. If you don't remember what your hypothesis is, just scroll all the way up because you actually need it for this portion. All right, my hypothesis was if I wear Nikes, then I will jump higher. Ooh, than I do with when I wear my New Balances. Oh, so I was just comparing my Nikes and my New Balances. So when I go back to my data table, I need to compare my Nikes and my New Balances. And I was right. I did jump higher with my Nikes than my New Balances with 37.8 compared to 36.1. So I can say my hypothesis was accurate that my New Balances allowed for a higher jumping height compared to, my Nikes, compared to my New Balances. But overall, the Jordans had the best results. So all I did was I summarized the result, like which one jumped the highest, and then I addressed whether my hypothesis was accurate or inaccurate. And just like that, I did the whole experiment. It's done well. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. If you have any questions, try rewatching the video or reaching out to Miss Berg. Thank you very much, everybody, and I hope you crush your assignment.